All right, let's see if it's going to be one of those days. Okay, so hi, John here, you there. You can tell that the background is a little different, and it will be different today, tomorrow, and Thursday, as we thought. And so, trying to work on the lighting, and we'll see kind of how it is over the next couple days. But John here, you there, Tuesday Thoughts. Thanks for dropping in. It's going to be a show where we catch up on Club World Cup, where we catch up on Gold Cup, and there is a distinct possibility that we will have a guest coming in last 20 minutes of the show. Depends on production meetings, and we'll see how they go. But production meetings, hopefully they will behave, and we can catch up with a friend of the show and a friend of the network, and we will be able to find out what's going on north of the border. We'll go through all the juice boxes of the day. We're going to go back and as I promised yesterday, we have sound from Stefan Ortega and from Ilkay Gundogan from Manchester City. We'll play that, kind of getting you ready for everything in Club World Cup. We'll talk about what happened last night. We'll go over the crazy that happened last night in the group stage, in Group A and B on night side specifically. For those of you that were watching last night, it was chaos. And it was chaos personified. And so we'll get into that for the morning as well. Like I said, we got news and notes and things, and we'll get into all of that. Okay. Worst kept secret for those of you that follow along on social media. Yes, it is birthday. So thank you, Four Card. Thank you, Ricky. And that's going to be one of the big questions, Michael. Can Inter Miami compete? So we'll find out about Messi and friends. So for those of you, I guess this is opening kickoff. Technically, this is opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code. For those of you who are hanging out with us this morning, you hit that QR code. You kick off your day with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com, and you hit that code, you buy out the store, but you can buy out the store at 15% off by using the code Soccer Down Here 15 at checkout. And then you get to start your day off the right way. A bunch of different brands at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. They, in turn, when you use the code Soccer Down Here 15, take 10% reinvested in youth games, youth initiatives, stuff that they think of as cool, like our buddy Carlito says at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right, so yeah, as you notice in the chat, it is the birthday, and that is why we are not in Office HD, because the boss thought that it would be a good thing because her birthday is on Friday and my birthday is today, if we could escape for a couple days. And the Rowdy Man is with us, and so he is kind of dictating what we're doing, where we're going, and how we're doing it. And he has already monopolized both the bed and the sofa, and it's no real surprise. So this morning, when the boss woke up, she has an arsenal of stuff that is what she likes to, she will surprise me on days like today. And so she surprised me on this particular day. And so here is what she surprised me with. And I'm going to have to duck out of the camera range here for a second for some of this. So hang on. All right. So, and I don't know if I can fit all of this on me while we're doing the show, but I'm going to give it a shot just at least to kind of let you know what's going on. Okay. So you see, well, actually, hang on. So this, see, and I don't know how to wear these. This is my first problem. It's like, do I slide my arm through this and have the sash, because she got me the sash. And so I don't know how to wear a sash. I mean, she's the one that has done this circuit. So I'm trying to figure out how this goes. So she got me the sash, and I got to put one arm through it. Okay, so hang on. All right. So, all right. All right. And this is not for somebody my size. I'm already getting choked. So anyway, so I put my all right. So taking Ricky's advice, I had put one arm through it, and so she got me this. And I can firmly anticipate that if I tried to do the whole show with it, I probably would choke. So anyway, so I have the sash. Whoops, I have the sash. And yeah, I probably could not move in my t-shirt if I had the sash. And she also got me a blue ribbon, and it is a pin, so I'm going to have to wear more than just the t-shirt because I would probably puncture myself if I wore that. And then, uh, Michael, you ain't kidding. It is fashion accessory down here. And so she also got, well, and I was wearing this before I put the headset on. So this is something that worked before the headset. And so literally it is crown and sash. So imagine the entire wardrobe basically. Um, so the entire bit. So this would be there with the sash and the birthday boy pin, that the blue ribbon that punctures people, and then obviously these are a part of it too. So imagine, if you will, these and the crown, probably A and B. That's probably, that would be kind of effective. I don't know if I could actually see the show or anything like that, but anyway, so that would be yeah, Ricky, you're pretty close. It would be like Elton John on his birthday, or normal for Elton John. So hang on. So my notifications are going all off on my Facebook here on the laptop. So, and happy birthday to Colin Martz, by the way. It's also Colin's birthday. So uh Google Chrome notifications. So no, I'm trying to settings. See, because that thing's going to go off all show long, and it's just going to be in my ear the entire time. And I don't know if you guys are hearing. Yeah, and so, so anyway, so yeah, the boss got the crown, she got the glasses, she got the sash, and she got the blue ribbon. So I'm going to tell you right now, for those of you that follow on Facebook, for those of you that follow on Facebook, I'm going to warn you now. There is going to be a picture posted with as many of those accessories that I could fit on my head at any one time. That's going to be coming up in a bit. So just so you know, react appropriately, react as you wish. But the boss took a photo with me wearing as many of those things as I could get away with this morning for another trip around the sun. So that is that is opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. It is going to be it's going to be one of them days, I can tell you right now, because you're going to have there's going to be a lot of pictures. The boss is already posting pictures of me when I was a rather young individual, and my fashion choices were amazing. So keep an eye out on social media for the updated photo from what happened today, this morning before the show started, because of the sash, the glasses, the crown, the whole bit. The only thing that was there was blue ribbon. Not there was blue ribbon. So yeah, keep an eye out on the face space, and you'll be able to see that picture coming up in a bit. But I figured I would give you a bit of a tease as to what it looks like when when you have a sash and glasses and crown and everything for the birthday. So that's opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, here's your QR code for those of you who are hanging out. However you're accessing us this morning, large device or small, you hit that QR code, and that is on Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You buy out the store, but you can buy out the store at 15% off when you use the code SoccerDownHere15. And you get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10% reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee. and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Also, a couple of the other causes, once again, the Soccer for Good campaign here in 2025. You can go to Olive and York and you can pick up the first ever SDH jersey. Once again, that's the Navy jersey, and you can choose your color of personalization. You can either go white or you can go the light blue, Carolina, Columbia blue, whatever you want to phrase it. Consult with Alex and Abby as to figuring out which direction you wish to go when it comes to all of that stuff. So you've got that. You also have our friends at the Marshall Islands. Like I said, I've got about 10 scarves that are not here with me at the resort, but they're in the office. And so if you have not supported the Marshall Islands project, and it's something that you would be that would be of your want, you can go and buy all. And when you buy all the gear, most of the bucket hat, the jerseys, all those kinds of things, that comes from London. Scarves come from us. Maddie's on the picture on the website, and so you can get your scarf from me. You can either meet me in person or I can mail it to you, however you want me to do that. So once again, the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation, you can help them out. The Outrigger Challenge Cup in the second week of August in Springdale, Arkansas, 14th and the 16th, and the championship game is going to be on the 16th. 14th is going to be your final four, basically, of the Marshall Islands, Turks and Caicos, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Ozark United's U19s, I believe. That's going to be your fourth. And so you can go and help them out. The Kickstarter project was a success, but if you want to continue to invest in the growth of the sport through them as a part of our Soccer for Good, you can do it with them as well. And once again, all the gear comes from London. Scarves come from us. You can help them out there as well. Also, what am I forgetting? Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. And also you can go shop our new logo at soccerdownhere.net in the shop section. But our friends at Grady Baby, once again, you can get the Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta gear. It's either red or black. It's either a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. Gold embossed lettering, Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta. SDH logo on one cuff, Grady Baby logo on the other cuff, and that with our Soccer for Good campaign, where the jersey from Olive and York helps out, once again, Beyond Goals mentoring on one sleeve, Soccer for Good on the other. That helps out the Soccer for Good campaign here in 25. Then what also is going on with our friends at Grady Baby is it helps out middle school soccer programs that are attached to the Atlanta public school system. So you can help out that way as well. And also you can become a Fanatico by $10 a year. What do you do for $10 a year? Then what you do is you can, in fact, become a Fanatico. And what you do is you go, and it will be through our Chant app. And I can actually show you the Chant app and not have it like completely and totally just, do I need to reverse my camera? I think I need to reverse my camera. Settings, hang on. Video. Mirror camera. No, I don't. Well, let me hang on. Let me see if I mirror the camera. Let's try this. There we go. I don't want the mirrored camera. So there we go. Now it's not mirrored. And so you can actually kind of weirded me out a little bit when I was turning things going on, and it was just like it wasn't showing me things. It was backwards. Anyway, Chant app right here. You can become a Fanatico, $10 a year. And that's also a part of our Soccer for Good campaign here in 25. And what you can do is go to, let me type it. Let me see if I can actually get away with typing something and have it be successful. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here/join. Let me see if I typed it correctly. I might actually have. Oh my gosh, I might actually have done that. So there we go. All right, so that is how you can become a Fanatico. And then once again, $10 a year. You become a Fanatico, you get into conversations, you get to have conversations with other Fanaticos as you go. And you can also get a lot of really cool discounts from a lot of cool partners that we have. It is just to let you know who's part of this. A lot of folks that are north of the Nat line, a lot of breweries and restaurants and things like that. So here's just so you can become a Fanatico, $10 a year. Once again, part of our Soccer for Good campaign. Brass Tap in Marietta, the Moxie Hotel in Midtown, food and beverage discount. South Main in Watkinsville, Schoolhouse in Marietta, Atlanta Hard Cider Marietta, Elixir Brewing Buford and Monroe, Round Trip Brewing in East Cobb, Social Fox in Norcross, Keys to Flavor Catering, discount on your first catered event in out of Sugar Hill. Fido Midtown, food discount. O'Sullivan's, $5 select beers, $10 off the food bill, $10 off of merch. And once again, it is the regular season finale on Friday. We'll see if we can catch up with our friends at Decatur FC on Friday and find out what's going on with them. Chattanooga FC comes to town, regular season finale, division champs in the Peachtree Division in the Southeast Conference. Go one more time in the regular season and to be a part of things at Decatur FC. You guys have been fantastic showing up and showing out for more than 2,000 of you each and every time that there's been a home match at Decatur FC. So very, very cool. And O'Sullivan's Pub, key to that. Lloyd's Soccer, 20% off select Atlanta United gear. Finished Goods Brew Works in Winder. Slow Pour in Lawrenceville. Outrun in Stone Mountain. Tires Plus in Alpharetta, you get a discount. Dad's Garage. Chateau San Ramon, Costa Rica. I'm not kidding. You get a code. You get a Battle and Brew, Sandy Springs in the Battery, Wild Leap on Ted Turner Drive. $1 off a Chance IPAs and local Gold Blonde Ale. Limit 3 per visit. And so you can become a Fanatico. And be a part of everything with all of those aspects there at group.chant.fan/soccer-down-here/join. So it's SDH by the gear, soccerdownhere.net, go into the shop section. Become a Fanatico. Olive and York for the jersey. Once again, Soccer for Good on one sleeve, Beyond Goals Mentoring on the other. You go back and you can see Greg Garza do blue steel along with Sophia Cupertino on our Madison Cruise, and they go like this. And they model the jerseys. So you've got all that. And so I think I've got everything. I think that's everybody. But anyway, you can help out a bunch of different ways as a part of the Soccer for Good campaign across the board here at SDH, whether it's with Grady Baby, being a Fanatico, all the different ways that you can do it. Outside of our Soccer for Good campaign with the Marshall Islands, all the things. You can also go to fntz.co/soccer down here. You can add being a true degenerate to anything and everything going on with your viewing habits. That include our buddy Nico Moreno, our buddy Nino Torres, who will be with our buddy Nico Moreno in hour number 2 on Thursday, as they always are in the Power Hour, coming fully loaded to break everything down. So Torres, all the BNs, Teise, CDOs, CDO2, For the Fans, Nuestra Tele, Liga 1, Liga 1 Max Pro, Tigo Sports, Canal 4, all of them. Central and South America at fntz.co/soccer down here. So that's the rundown. All right. So and I'm going to thank everybody ahead of time. I'll go through the chat in a bit, and I know that a lot of folks are wishing me a happy 702nd birthday, as you should, because 700 when I turned 701, that was rough. 702, we'll see if it's a different year. Yesterday, I don't know how many of you saw the chaos that was attached to the group stage in the Club World Cup. And it literally was complete and total chaos across the board in the group stage yesterday. And so when you go back and you and you try and diagnose the 2 matches that happened yesterday, basically the only thing I can tell you is good luck, because of the early starts. They were fairly calm. You had all of the activity that was there, and it was fairly calm by calm standards. Then you get into all of the chaos that went down, and you just kind of run out of superlatives at one point. And you're kind of just sitting there and you're going, really, is this exactly what happened yesterday? And the answer is absolutely yes, it was what happened yesterday. And you go through, you're going to be casting some doubts over European soccer. The LA Times. FIFA Club World Cup casting some doubts over European soccer dominance. do people not watch what's going on in South America? South American soccer, this seems to be some kind of a wake-up call for some folks. But the way that I would look at it is it is an adventure that hopefully is opening up some eyes to some folks when it comes to what's going on. I mean, you look at Botafogo, you look at Palmeiras, you look at Flamengo, and people apparently seem to be shocked at all of this stuff. So I don't know why you would be shocked. I don't know why you would be shocked, but apparently the Eurocentric thoughts of it's Europe first, and then all of a sudden you have all of these South American clubs that seem to be coming up and biting folks in the butt, and you're going, what in the wide world of sports is going on? We know this. It ain't just all about that. Botafogo sits there and they kind of take a chunk out of PSG, and everybody was like, what? I admit that the result was shocking, but anybody who seems to be shocked by the idea that South American soccer is just coming up and surprising people, that's a bit of a surprise in and of itself. Okay, so yesterday, the early games, PSG shuts out Seattle 2-0. So Seattle is 3 and done. They're out of the tournament in Group B. Then at the Rose Bowl, Atletico Madrid beats Botafogo 1-0. Okay, so the day side was pretty calm. Night side. And these are the matchups that are going on once again. It's simultaneous, so that way there's no tanking, there's no shenanigans. You're starting the second half at the same time, all the things. So yesterday, and we'll go into the stats, and we'll go into folks that are we'll go into deeper dive into the numbers and things like that. We'll take it a match at a time. And Abby's just looking at the score. So we'll start with the matchups that are going to it'll determine what's coming to Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, Seattle had a crazy group. Seattle's had an absolutely crazy group, and it was going to be an uphill slog for them. So Messi and friends take on Palmeiras. It was at Hard Rock, and you couldn't get a seat. You legitimately could not find a seat in that place. It was loud. And for those of you that didn't watch, Andres Cantor and Brian Dunseth had the call for TNT TBS, and the U.S. version that we're used to seeing, not the international version that Jess is attached to. And we're hopefully going to have Jessica Charman on the show on Friday, because she is only there for the group stage for DAZN UK with Danny Higginbotham. Her time is done, and we get to catch up with her maybe in an airport on Friday. Messi and friends in Palmeiras. So in this matchup, you end up with Palmeiras pressuring Inter Miami and trying to create turnovers in the defensive half for quick fields, quick turnovers, clinical chances, that kind of thing. And when you go all in like that and you push all your chips to the center of the table, like we saw Palmeiras do defensively, it opens you up for transitional opportunities. First one happened in the 16th minute. And so you end up with Suarez and Allende combining in their own defensive half. Allende's speed gets past the defense, and Messi and friends end up with a 1-0 lead. I want to get into the stats for Oscar Ustari and get into all of that coming up when we break this down a match at a time. Ashkan, I don't know. It's the how do we phrase this? The reception here, this may not necessarily be the most, how do I phrase? I'll probably have to work on it. I'm kind of, the internet speeds are not the same as they are in the office. So it might be a little off, and I apologize for that ahead of time. And I apologize, especially if it drives you crazy. But so in the 16th minute, in the 16th minute, you end up with a 1-0 lead. And that works its way through the first half. So 1-0 at the break. Then Luis Suarez, after a couple of deflections here and there, it goes. This is in the 65th minute. So if it's so 25 minutes to go, Messi passes to Suarez. Suarez is trying to charge through the defense. Ball goes off of a defender, pops up into the air. Suarez sticks with the play, gets it short side. The keeper goes off of one of the keeper's gloves. I think it was his right glove, short side. And so it goes off of his glove, goes short side in, and it's 2-0. And you're sitting there thinking, man, at that point, it was looking like it was going to be Palmeiras coming to Mercedes-Benz to go up against PSG because of PSG winning the group earlier in the day. And so you had PSG waiting to figure out who it was going to be. There was a point in this match where, because of the lead that Messi and friends had, as they were chasing after, closing the match out, because of the craziness of the match that we're going to talk about coming up in a bit, literally a third team entered the chat. That's how crazy this was. So you had a 2-0 lead for Messi and friends against Palmeiras. The craziness going on at the Meadowlands was causing a third team to enter the chat because of all the goals that were being scored. And we'll get into that. And so you could have had any number of clubs, 3 of the 4 clubs, short of Al Ahly, who was out on tiebreakers and such. Al Ahly was the only club that was not engaged in the conversation trying to figure out who was going to be going up against PSG on Sunday at noon at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But then Paulinho scores with 10 to go. Then it's 2-1. And now you're sitting there going, okay, it's getting interesting. It is getting interesting. And so then it gets even more interesting when Mauricio scores in the 87th minute after you end up with a header that ends up going into it, down into the turf, into open space, and it ends up with a rocket, and it goes past Ustari, and it ends up at 2-2, where Maxi trying to do some last-ditch defending inside the 18, literally wins the header, heads it down, goes into open space, goes straight to Mauricio. Mauricio puts it in the back of the net, 2-2, and we're back where we were at the beginning of the day in the group, where if Messi and friends had won that matchup, they would have been the one seed. They would have gone to Philly. Then it would have been the 2 seed that would have worked their way through, and the 2 seed would have gone up against. It's just the craziness that was attached. So at one point it was Messi and friends. Then there was one point where it was Porto. Then it was Palmeiras that was in the discussion after they scored, and then they scored again. So by the time it was all over, it was back where we were. PSG, Messi and friends, noon, Sunday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And so now Palmeiras ends up going to Philly. And so that's the give and take that was a part of this group. So individual statistics, and I want to get into some of just how absolutely crazy it was when it came to this particular match. You like the mood lighting here as I try to get the third device up and running. So that's not going to work. So, all right, full disclosure. Phone's going off right now. And it is my insurance agent. I'm hoping he's just calling to wish me a happy birthday because I have no insurance issues. Anyway, so, all right. So let's get your day of the Club World Cup in the matchup that we were just discussing, because there were some individual performances that I wanted to get into from Messi and friends, and just to kind of break down what it was like. Matches, knockout, stats, standings, by date. I don't want, it's like results. Results is what I'm looking for. Okay. So Messi and friends in Palmeiras, specifically this matchup, just how absolutely crazy it was. So lineups. And as Javier Mascherano had discussed, as long as my vets are healthy and can go, that's the lineup I'm going to use. So 2-2 draw, Ustari in net, Chelo Wegant, Tomas Avilas, Maxi Falcone, Noah Allen, Allende, Redondo, Busquets, Segovia, Luis Suarez, who registered an 8.5, by the way, according to our friends at SofaScore, and Lionel Messi, who got a 7.5 because he also got the yellow card for the tactical foul. So Oscar Ustari, who has been out of his mind in this tournament, 5 saves from Ustari, 1 high claim, 4 saves from inside the box, 45 touches, 24-35 passing at 69%. 11 of 21 on his long balls yesterday. And then you end up with a bunch of other numbers. But another 5 saves for Ustari for Messi and friends yesterday. So Luis Suarez, just to give you his numbers, 73 minutes before he got pulled, and after the goal was scored, he was like, yeah, I'm done. So goal and an assist, 1 shot on target, 1 shot blocked, 3 of 4 on the dribble, 37 touches, 15 of 21, 71%, 3 key passes, 1 for 3 on his long balls, 2 big chances created, 5 of 9 on his duels, 1 foul. He was fouled once, had 1 block and a pick. So that's what you got from Luis Suarez yesterday. And you end up with those numbers. And it took a little bit, but Esteval, who is heading to Chelsea, punched a 7.6. He had the highest rating of anybody on the Palmeiras side of things. And statistically, once again, 54% possession, but remember, it's what you do with it. Total shots, 22 shots for Palmeiras compared to 8 for Messi and friends. 5 saves for Ustari. Corners, 7 corners for Palmeiras, none for Messi and friends. 16 fouls called, which seems kind of low, but you could tell that short of what Messi did for the tactical foul that got him the yellow, pretty much nothing was going to get called. And so that's what you ended up with. You had 16 fouls, 25 tackles, 14 for Palmeiras. Once again, we mentioned just the 1 yellow card. So the center ref in this match gave the 1 yellow card, and it was to Lionel Messi. 1 yellow card to Lionel Messi. That's it. And like I said, it was the tactical foul that should have happened. And so it was Messi knew what he was doing, and so you ended up with that. So that was the numbers in the 2-2 match. And, as you sit there and you're trying to monitor, and I don't know how many of you had both matches going at the same time in that group, but you end up with Group A with Porto and Al Ahly. And just to let you know how crazy this was, just to let you know how absolutely crazy this one was, you had Abu Ali for Al Ahly with a hat trick in this one. So in this one, Al Ahly with a goal in the 15th, you're up 1-0. Rodrigo Mora scores in the 23rd to tie it at 1. Abu from the spot at 45 plus 2, 2-1 Al Ahly at the break. So, okay, 2-1, 2-1 is fairly normal. It's last day of the group stage. You're kind of sitting there going, okay, everything's fine. So, business then picks up from there. So, 2-1 at the break, Al Ahly. Goal in the 50th minute to go 2-2 from Gomes. Abu Ali gets his 3rd for the hat trick. So that way it's 3-2. Let me do so it's now this is when it's reversed. So 3-2 Al Ahly in the 51st. 3-3 after Samu scores. So 3-3 in the 53rd minute. Ramdane scores for Al Ahly to make it 4-3 in the 64th. Pepe scores in the 89th to make it 4-4. So basically, if you go from the 50th minute to the 64th minute, you end up with 4 goals scored in a 14-minute span. Good luck trying to keep up with that. Good luck trying to keep up with this match. And so if you have an opportunity and you can watch the second half of this match, I would recommend it just for the chaos factor alone. Finishes 4-4. Those two teams go back to where they were at the beginning of the day. So neither of them make it into the next part of the round. And so how we started the day ends up how we finished the day in Group A, but you had all of this chaos going on simultaneously. And I would say good luck to the rest of the tournament and trying to keep up with what happened on this match day and trying to sort out who's going to be going where. Goal on the 15th, goal on the 23rd, goal at 45 plus 2. That's where you are at the half. 2-2 in the 50th. 3-2 Al-Akhli in the 51st. 3-3, 4-3 Al-Akhli in the 64th. 4-4 in the 89th, and that's your final. If you have a way, if you literally have a way to watch this match, I would go back and watch this match. And look, even just go to the second half. Go to the second half and watch this match. And so that's what you ended up with Porto and Al-Akhli wrapping up their time in Group A. So Group A and Group B are settled. We now know at least the part of the discussion when it comes to Group A and Group B, where things are. And Ricky, to Ricky's point, as a volunteer whose time is not done, Ricky's got to be at the Benz at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. He's got to be at the Benz at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. May your God bless you, sir. I mean, we're not going to be that far behind you, to be perfectly honest, because to do the content that we have to, we've got to be there between 8 and 9. Yeah, we've got to be there between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. because of the non-rights holder allotment and allowances. So to get all of our material done, we got to get there just a little later than you, but not as early as you. So we'll see you early. And it was good to see Michael Head and good to see everybody, by the way, when we were there last time out. But no, we'll be there for the MD-1s. We'll be there. And so here's how this is gonna work out. We'll be there for the MD-1s on Saturday. Then we'll be there at noon on Sunday. Then we have the 2s, and it is Atlanta United 2 and Messi and Friends 2, by the way. That's a night game on Sunday. We still got to figure out our broadcast plans for that, but we will have that one for you in some manner, way, shape, or form. Then the Monday MD-1s. Then the night game on Tuesday, late night. So it's the 9 o'clock game on Tuesday. So pregame pressers. Pregame presser on Saturday night. Noon on Sunday for the Messi Bowl, Messi Mania, PSG and Inter Miami. Then the MD-1s Monday night. Then the late night game on Tuesday. And then there's one more match further down the line at Mercedes-Benz. But that's the rundown for FIFA World Cup, at least 2 in a 3-day span at Mercedes-Benz Stadium that we're looking forward to being there with you guys and seeing you and laying it all out for you there. So that's the rundown over the next however many days that are attached to. I think, Ricky, that is correct. I think that you are accurate in that. So hang on. Scores and fixtures. All right. So scores and fixtures. We'll go through juice boxes coming up in a bit. PSG and Messi and Friends Sunday at noon. Then it is the number 2 team out of Group E and the top seed out of Group F for Tuesday, July 1st. And so that's where we are there. And so we're trying to gauge what that's going to look like. So C and D get determined today. Right now, the way that it's laid out, Palmeiras Botafogo is at the Link on the 28th, Saturday. That's at noon. 4 o'clock, it is the top team out of Group C. And yes, Abby, the weekend match with Messi and friends is postponed. So you end up with the top seed out of Group C and the number 2 seed out of Group D. That's at Bank of America in Charlotte, 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Yes, postponed. Absolutely postponed. Yeah, so first team match, Atlanta United, Messi and friends from this weekend postponed because they still have work to do, meaning Messi and friends in the tournament. So Saturday, Palmeiras Botafogo, noon at the Link. To be determined today, top seed out of Group C, number 2 seed out of Group D. That's going to be at Bank of America in the round of 16 on Saturday. Sunday, noon, PSG, Messi and friends, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That we know. Now, one team is already figured out in Group D. Top seed out of Group D is Flamengo. They are in, and they will be playing the number 2 team out of Group C at Hard Rock, 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon. So the early game is in Atlanta, PSG and Messi and friends, at Mercedes-Benz. Flamengo is playing the number 2 team out of Group C at the Hard Rock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. Now, once again, Monday is Group E and Group F and Group G and Group H. Tuesday is top team out of Group H, 2 seed out of Group G. That's at Hard Rock at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday. Night side, 9 o'clock, top team out of Group F, number 2 team out of Group E. And so that's what you're looking at for the next matchup for Atlanta United, for Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It is the 2 team out of Group E, top seed out of Group F. So E and F is what determines what's going to be happening for that second match in 3 days at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So keep an eye on E and F. C and D, you get a day to take a break. You get to figure out what's going on there. So the last of the round of 16 matchups, 9 o'clock Tuesday night, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Group E, Group F. That's tomorrow. And so Group E and Group F are tomorrow. Today, as it all lays out, it's our friends from Auckland City at 3 o'clock taking on Boca Juniors at Geodis. How many of you have seen the video of how Boca fans have warmed themselves to Nashville? Literally, you have Boca Juniors fans in Nashville line dancing on Broadway. I don't know if you've seen that. But none of that should surprise you. Boca Juniors fans are insane anyway, and the fact that they have seemingly embraced Nashville's way on the Broadway, no shock. But it's been fun to see what that looks like. And also, and this is something that I hope kind of trickles its way over to Boca Juniors. Connor Tracy, the starting keeper for Auckland City, loves him some mate. Loves him some mate. And there is an actual story in Auckland City end up with Connor Tracy literally doing a story about enjoying mate. But then you had Boca fans in Nashville, and wherever the Auckland City team is or wherever they were field tripping. You had Boca Juniors fans singing songs because they recognized the fact that there were Auckland City players wearing the Auckland City gear walking down the street. And so the Boca Junior fans were working their way up and down, I'm guessing Broadway. And so they're singing, Boca Juniors fans are singing Boca Juniors songs at the Auckland City players as they're coming out of restaurants in downtown Nashville. The video is out there, and it's a hoot. But someone's got to tell Boca Juniors folks, look, our starting keeper, and that story's out there too on social media, was posted by our friends at Auckland City. So that was tremendous as well to see. And to Ricky's point, to Ricky's point, the melting of the cultures is absolutely hilarious. He's not wrong. This is some funny stuff. When you have Boca Juniors fans in their jerseys line dancing in clubs in Nashville, and I think that there was still some sun out, so it might have actually been at a decent hour. Not that I would anticipate that you would have fans from Boca Juniors partying at any hour when anything is open or keeping things open. Let's just say that I'm fairly certain that the economy in Nashville was not hurting from what's been going on at the Club World Cup. But yes, Boca Juniors fans in their jerseys, line dancing in clubs in Nashville, and I'm guessing on Broadway. Boca Juniors fans in Nashville recognizing Auckland City players who are in their gear, but nevertheless, yes, players. I've got Auckland City gear coming to the house. I wasted doing the story in Chattanooga, and I know this will shock each and every one of you. Literally, I went to Auckland City's website, and I'm like, okay, what can I buy and what can get shipped? So there is stuff that is getting shipped from Auckland City, and I think it's arriving at the house tomorrow. But Auckland City players coming out of restaurants, getting serenaded by Boca Juniors fans in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Club World Cup. This is the kind of stuff that you're having happen. We'll go through juice boxes for today in a minute. But this is what you're getting into. Melting of cultures is hilarious, and Ricky says no other sport can do this like this. And that's why we love it. You're damn right. Absolutely. So Group C, Auckland City, we know they're eliminated. They're going up against Boca Juniors. And Paul Posa, the head coach at Auckland City, he's like, no, we're not rolling over. And, it's safe to say that they are Team 32 in this tournament, but they ain't rolling over. And he said as much in the postgame press conference after their loss to Benfica. By the way, I still think that first penalty that was called late first half, Angel Di Maria, completely and totally whiffed, and they called it. To me, it wasn't a penalty. That's the other one I should have talked to Bart about, was the Di Maria penalty for Benfica against Auckland City. That was not a pen. Looked like complete and totally Di Maria is just falling over the Auckland City player, and nowhere close. It's a whiff, and they called it PK. I digress. So, Auckland City, Boca Juniors, and I can't wait. I can't wait to keep an eye on this one today. It's one of the 3 o'clock Eastern starts. I want to see how Auckland City responds. Boca Juniors, that they got stuff to do. They got stuff to do. So it will be. I will be intrigued by this matchup. Then Benfica and Bayern, also 3 o'clock. This one is at the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. So those are your 3 o'clock matchups. Like I said, we'll get to juice boxes in a sec because I'm a device down and I'm having to kind of juggle here. 9 o'clock tonight in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl. Since the campers ain't paying us, we ain't saying it. LAFC and Flamengo. LAFC, Flamengo. We'll find out what happens with them. Luis Arujo irony report incoming. And then Esperance and Chelsea. Esperance and Chelsea in Group D. So Group C is your 3 o'clocks. Group D is your 9 o'clocks. So right now, as things stand, scores and fixtures, fantasy teams, standings. Okay, so let's get into Group C and Group D and lay it all out. So right now, Bayern, Benfica, Boca, and Auckland. No surprise. So Bayern right now at 6 points. They are in some aspect. Bayern, 6 points. Even if Boca beats Auckland City, they're at 4 points. They can't touch Bayern. Bayern is in some way. Benfica's at 4 points. They've got some work to do. Boca is at a point you anticipate that they will win. That would put them at 4. But goal difference, you go head-to-head first, and then you go goal difference. But head-to-head, and we'll get into head-to-head and stuff like that. But right now, Boca At 0-1-1, 1 point. You anticipate they're going to get to 4. Bayern's in, then you got to get into tiebreakers with Benfica and Boca. Group D, Flamengo in. And they have the tiebreaker over Chelsea and Esperance. Once again, head-to-head first. Then you get into goal difference, goals scored, that kind of a thing. It's the FIFA tiebreaker. So, Flamengo has won twice. Chelsea and Esperance both once again 1-0-1. Esperance with their win over LAFC. Once again, go back and find the Jessica Charman call on the PK save on Denny Buang in the 101st minute. That is what got Esperance to this point. So Esperance and Chelsea, what happens here that gets you into the next round? Can Boca score enough to overturn the goal difference if Benfica loses? They see now. This is something that that has been a part of the discussion this week or this tournament, basically. Ricky's asking if Boca can score enough to overturn goal difference. Right now, it is a 7-goal difference. Benfica is at +6. Boca is at -1 in goal difference. So you're looking at 7. And then you get into, so if, now this is me looking at math. That's your Surgeon General's warning. So Boca Juniors right now has scored 3, given up 4. 7-goal difference. Benfica has scored 8. So what you're looking for is Benfica not to score a lot. If you are a fan of Boca Juniors, and you want Boca Juniors to advance, you are looking for a low-scoring match on one end with Benfica, and you are looking at Boca putting the pedal down against Auckland City. That's what you're staring at. Right now, Benfica has scored 8. Boca Juniors has scored 3. Boca Juniors sets up playing Auckland City. And you know that Boca Juniors is going to be, once again, pushing the pedal down, trying to get as many goals scored as possible so they can match goals scored with Benfica. So if Benfica loses, they lock in at 4 points. Boca has to have 7 goals and hope that Benfica really doesn't score a whole lot. So if it's 2-2, 1-1, 2-2, then you're looking at 9 goals scored. Or 8. So Benfica with 8 goals scored. Boca with 3. So right now there's a 5-goal difference and a 7 in goals scored. So goal difference is 7. Goals scored difference, Benfica has 5 more. So look at goal difference, then goals scored. So those are your 2 categories. Goal difference right now is 7. Benfica's at +7 over Boca. Goals scored is +5. So that's the 2 pieces of math that you have to look at here in the FIFA tiebreaker involving those 2. Abby, enjoy your 10 a.m. Zoom. So that is Group C and Group D today. That is Group C and Group D today. So looking at the juice boxes. So let's see if our friends at Odds Portal can come up with actual numbers here. So Belgium, Bhutan, it's Europe, so we have to go world. So I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. FIFA Club World Cup. Okay. So today's juice boxes, just so we have them. Boca Juniors, the max number, it appears, at least in composites, is a -10,000. Once again, 3rd time in this tournament that maxing out is the opponent for Auckland City. Boca Juniors at a minus 10,000. Auckland City is a plus 53.86. Draws a plus 3,200. Benfica and Bayern. Bayern is a plus 104 in the juice boxes. Benfica is a plus 284. 90-minute draws a plus 240. 9 o'clocks. Chelsea is a minus 385, understandably so. Esperance is north of plus 1,000 at a plus 1028. Draws a plus 475. The result of Esperance and Chelsea is going to determine which one of them makes it in as the B, as the 2 seed. And then LAFC and Flamengo. Flamengo's a minus 119. They've clinched everything already. They're a minus 119. LAFC is a plus 322 in their last act in the tournament, and the draws a plus 256. Tomorrow, by the way, we're going to get you back into covering the activity in Major League Soccer because it is a double match week for some, but not for all. Getting ready for Atlanta and Columbus. Chris Doran, play-by-play voice for Columbus Crew on radio, is going to join us at 9:15. And our friends from Footy Prime are going to join us at 10:30 to break down day 2 of Gold Cup qualifying, getting ready for the quarterfinals. Last day of the group stage is today, and we'll get into that and coming up in just a little bit. But our friends from Footy Prime are going to join us at 10:30 Eastern. Don't know who yet. Have an idea who, don't know specifically. But once again, Chris Doran, play-by-play voice of Columbus Crew, is going to join us at 9:15 tomorrow, as maybe Tyler Pilgrim is going to show us what Portugal looks like, considering he's on vacation and chasing after actual vacation time in Portugal. So Chris Doran, 9:15 tomorrow. He's going to be your 9 o'clock anchor. And then Footy Prime, our friends from Footy Prime up in Toronto, they're going to join us at 10:30 to talk about what we're going to talk about in hour number 2, at least a little bit, with Canada and the Gold Cup and the matchups there. And so we'll get into those juice boxes tonight and all of the permutations and everything. And like I said, hopefully later in this hour, we'll be joined by someone who has been hanging out with the Canadian men's national team a lot. And we'll find out what it's looking like as they're heading into their matchup tonight. And Central and South, let me see, so North and Central America. So is it North and Central America? Is that where it is? Yeah, North and Central America. Okay, so Gold Cup tonight. It is kickoffs at 7 and 10. Guadeloupe, Guatemala, Panama, Jamaica, Canada, and El Salvador. And that's where hopefully we'll be joined by someone later this hour to break down everything when it comes to the Canadian men's national team, and then Honduras and Curacao, or as some folks have said, Concordia University of Wisconsin, CUW. We've seen that in the tournament in the upper tombstones. So those are the 4 matches tonight. Guadeloupe, Guatemala, Panama, Jamaica, Canada, El Salvador, Honduras, and Curacao hopefully will be joined later in this hour, and we'll see what's going on. So we do know, once again, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, USA, and Costa Rica. You did see the news coming from various places yesterday, and I want to make sure that it is laid out. Let me see if I've got it correctly here. So hang on. Of course, after we got off the air yesterday, it was announced, Doug Robertson of the AJC et al. So Jay Fortune likely will miss the rest of the season, suffering an injury in his left foot playing with Trinidad and Tobago, Ronnie Dyla said yesterday. 76th minute. We went over the incident. Fortune pulled down by a Saudi Arabian player where Jay basically was hog-collared. And I thought initially that it might have been something with a knee, but apparently it is a foot injury. And Fortune's scheduled to meet with a doctor this morning and waiting for a diagnosis. Original reports had the foot being broken. Jay Fortune, 15 appearances, 8 starts, 1 goal. And so that's what you're looking at. Stian Gregerson also remains several weeks away, according to Doug in the conversation with Ronnie Dyla, several weeks away from returning. Dyla says, quote, "That's frustrating with him," meaning Stian Gregerson. "Hopefully now in the short term, Stian will train fully with the team. But now we've been out for 2 months almost. You're not just going to go back and just start to play. So he's some weeks away, but I expect him now to be training with the team quite soon. continued absence of Gregerson combined with Derek Williams' right foot injury, Luis Abram, Noah Cobb, Efren Morales, Matt Edwards, Ronald Hernandez. That's what you're looking at the back line. Tristan Muyumba, Edwin Mosqueda have returned to training, aren't fit enough to start, according to Ronnie Dyla through Doug Robertson of the AJC. So that's the latest notes on Jay Fortune and what is laid out there. So that's your notes. Them's your notes there. And so once again, Gold Cup tonight. We mentioned Saudi Arabia. They've advanced, and it is. Abby's looking at the differences between apparently the Zoom and is like I said here in at the resort du jour, a time zone away, and so and so Atlanta United Columbus. We'll get into the midweek whip around. We'll go through all the matchups in the midweek and juice boxes and everything tomorrow. But once again, Jay Fortune, second opinion earlier today, later today, and we'll find out what Jay's prognosis is and what it looks like. But so that's what it looks like going up for the matchup against Columbus. But tonight, Gold Cup, Guadeloupe, Guatemala, Panama, Jamaica, Canada, El Salvador, Honduras, Curacao. The first two are your early matchups at 7 o'clock. The last two are your late matchups at 10 o'clock. And then they will join folks in the playoffs on the 28th and the 29th. Mexico and Saudi Arabia, Mexico an early favorite. U.S. and Costa Rica, U.S. an early favorite there as well. So that's what you're staring at there. All right, let me go back into the timeline and catch up with everybody, and find out what's on everybody's mind here today, considering we spent a lot of the first hour on the Club World Cup, which I thought was really cool. The fact that we are getting to spend a lot of time talking about the Club World Cup and what's going on. So good morning, Forecard. Morning, Ricky. 12 goals in 2 matches. Yep, 4 and 8. Michael with the burning question, really. Looking forward to Sunday. Can Miami compete? That's the gazillion-dollar question in all of this, is can they compete? And I think that we saw, and I also want to see what the starting lineup is going to look like for PSG. And just so now that my interest is peaked, here when it comes to, I want to find out what the last lineup was for PSG in this tournament, just to kind of get an idea as to what they will be coming to the table with when it comes to all the matches. Fine, whatever. Okay, so Club World Cup 2025. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, so against Seattle, just to get an idea. So PSG's lineup going up against Seattle. 4-3 in net, back 4. Mendes, Pacho, Marquinhos, and Ashraf Hakimi. Hakimi, by the way, punched in 8.7 with a goal from the back. Ruiz, Vitinha, and Neves. Kvaratskhelia, Mayulu, and Doué. 4-3-3 for Luis Enrique, who he had on the bench. Zaire Emery, Barcola, Gonzalo Ramos, Mbaye, Safanov, Tenas, Kamara, Beraldo, Kimpembe, Lucas Hernandez, Kang In-lee, and Gabriel Moscardo. And Ousmane Dembele injured. So, I mean, I would anticipate that this 4-3-3 that Luis Enrique has would be the lineup. Mendes, Pacho, Marquinhos, Hakimi, Ruiz, Vitinha, Neves, Kvaratskhelia, Mayulu, and Doué. I think if you look at what we saw defensively from Messi and friends, say in the first however many minutes you want to break it down. No, I don't want to know about that. Go away. Thank you. So if you were to look at that lineup and that breakdown, from what we saw last night, you saw a team defending well when the game wasn't stretched. When the game was stretched and you're seeing transition opportunities back and forth, you saw the holes that were created that had a lot of folks working their way back to try and defend. That was the challenge. Being stationary with older players being, and I'll phrase it this way: older players being stationary, it's easier for them to defend. Maxi Falcone, when you had that kind of an anchor, you have the older players back there, and my guess is Jordi Alba is probably going to start against PSG. How weird is that to say? You're probably going to have some combination of now that my interest is peaked again, let me go back to the starting lineup last night for the matchup that we had involving Messi and friends and Palmeiras. So Messi and friends, and no. You sit there and it's like, I'm trying to find one thing, and it's just like, give me a break. All right, so lineup last night. So full page view. The lineup last night, specifically at the back. And I think that with the players offensively, I think that, to Michael's question, I think offensively, you'll see the imagination that's there. And so looking at the lineup that Messi and friends had last night, once again, the issues are at the back. We see it in Major League Soccer. We've seen it in this tournament. We saw it last night against Palmeiras. You'll see it again against PSG. So the lineup last night for Messi and friends at the back: Noah Allen, Maxi Falcone, Tomas Avilas, Chelo Weigand. That was your back four. Segovia, Busquets, Redondo, Allende, and then Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi. So you figure Suarez and Messi up top. That's fine. Segovia, Allende, and I've really been impressed with Tadeo Allende. Allende, Redondo, Busquets, you figure he's probably going to be playing, stationary role, probably won't be active a whole lot. He's going to be helping out defensively more than anything else, so that means that probably Jordi Alba will be the one going forward if he starts. Then Talasco Segovia. So Busquets probably plays a little closer to home. That means Alba can be the one that can race up the left-hand side and get the runs up the left wing. Noah Allen, Maxi Falcone, Avilas, and Chelo Weigand. Okay. Maxi Falcone, he'll drive you crazy. Tomas Avilas is a walking yellow card. Sometimes he's a walking red card. But we'll find out there. Then on the bench, Alba came in, played 25 minutes. Can he give me 45 against PSG? We'll find out. Kremoski, Baltazar Rodriguez came in to give you some speed and some fresh legs. Fafa Pico. Then you had David Martinez, Ryan Saylor, Santi Morales, Leo Afonso, and Alan Obando on the bench. That was your bench for Messi and friends. But you got to see Fafa Pico coming in late. Fafa Pico had a chance that could have put the game away. You saw his reaction when he couldn't quite pull the trigger on the edge of the six late. But Kremoski, offensive firepower. Jordi Alba helping defensively. Didn't go to a back line of 5. I don't know. Just a thought. So those are the questions leading into the matchup Sunday at noon at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So, thank you for the birthday wishes, Michael. Yes, 4-card. PSG's offense and Miami's defense should be fun. You might want to take the over in the juice boxes. I'm just saying. 4-card. Ricky talking about birthday wishes. Father's Day, son's birthday, wife's birthday, usually in the same week. Celebratory trips as a unit. Yes, that is absolutely true. And so that's what we do. The boss and I are 3 days apart. And so we try and find a place where we can do kind of a midpoint kind of a thing. So that's where we go. And yes, Michael, it was, in fact, fashion accessory down here with the glasses, the crown, and the sash that I don't know how to wear. Let's see. So, Luca, Messi fan. Messi in Miami will show PSG that with the GOAT, anything is possible. Not wrong. But once again, anyone looking at Messi and friends has to look at that back line. And then when that back line is forced to run, when the back line stands still, when the back line can just sit and defend, they're okay. But when they're invested and they're invested in the attack and going forward and all those kinds of things, that's when they have their problems. When they're forced to run, when they're forced to exert energy, when they're in the back and forth, that's when, especially in the last 10 minutes, last night against Palmeiras, in the back and forth, when the game gets stretched, that's when they have their issues. And don't think for a second Luis Enrique ain't seeing that. So we'll keep an eye on that. Yes, Abby, thank you. Welcome to my late 50s. I've been in my late 50s. Yeah, I'm 39 repeating. The boss is 39. I'm 39 repeating. Let's see. So, morning, David. Morning, Ricky. And yeah, Michael, it was great to see you guys. Abby just really wants Messi and friends to lose at any opportunity. Absolutely, she does. So wanted Fort Lauderdale to lose. Yeah, Michael, they certainly did. Seattle did have a rough draw. That was not a group where it was kind of funky. Morning, Ashkan. Don't be a stranger. Let's see. So, Abby, Ricky, Hesty, good morning. Let's see. Getting into the Boca discussion. Let's see. Morning, Tom. Good to see you. And Michael, not optimistic about Atlanta United the rest of the way. Morning, Ropes. No, the Heat will not be a factor. Not at all. Ropes. I think it's interesting that the only MLS team moving forward has loopholed their way into having a cadre of aging superstars. The closest competition to Seattle had 3 times their salary. Morning, Lokeville. Morning, Derek. Make them run, he says. Derek, make them run. And let's see. So, actually, remember Tom. Tom says, remember, loopholed into the tournament by Garber. Legitimately, you'll remember that when the whole thing came out about Team 32 in this tournament, when the whole thing came out about Team 32 in this tournament, did we or did we not have the discussion with it being here? We all knew in this show, in this audience, who that Team 32 was going to be. Did we or did we not have that discussion? We had that discussion. We knew immediately who that was going to be. We knew that the wild card was going to be Messi and friends. We knew that. Absolutely we did. And then Gianni Infantino goes to the erector set with a hot mic, wanders out on the field, tells the planet that it's going to be Team 32, that Messi and friends are going to be Team 32, and that the opener for the Club World Cup is going to be at Hard Rock. Basically, everybody was like, bro, what? Yes. So literally, Gianni Infantino walked out to the center field, walked out to the middle of the pitch at the erector set, and said what we knew was going to happen. The wild card was to be determined by FIFA. And we knew it was going to be Messi and friends. We absolutely knew it was. And that happened. The world was aghast. We, however, were not, because we believe in smoke and mirrors and black helicopters and just kind of analyzing things as we go. But we knew that Team 32 was going to be Messi and friends, the wild card, or the whatever the FIFA choice or whatever they called it. I forget what it was, but it was basically the wild card. The host wild card, I think was what it was. So the host wild card, we absolutely knew it was going to be this team. And then Gianni Infantino, with a microphone in Fort Lauderdale, was like, and Team 32 is, we'd like to welcome Inter Miami, and the first match is at Hard Rock. Everybody in Miami seriously was like, what? Everybody involved in Miami infrastructure in the city of Miami was like, what? And there were no shocks. No shocks from this universe. Apparently, everybody in South Florida was shocked. You're like, what? Yeah. Crowds have been great. But yeah, they see in South Florida, everybody was shocked that it was going to Hard Rock. What? We were like, of course. But yeah, Johnny Infantino walking out with a crowd mic to the erector set and walking out to center pitch. Team 32, we'd like to welcome Inter Miami. We were shocked, I tell you, shocked. The host wild card position. Yeah, Team 32, and they make it to the knockouts. Mazel tov. Ropes, yes. This actually is my 21st birthday. I've been fibbing the whole time. I've been fibbing. And Ropes' aunt and uncle are on the same day. Well, and my family's birthday, by the way, my family's birthday is, we're all Junes. Well, for the most part, we're Junes. Let's phrase it that way. Sister June 1st. The boss is the 27th. I have two halves that are the 21st and the 26th. So literally it's 21, 24, 26, 27, and 1. So like most of the family want each other. 4 within a week. 4 technically within 6 days. And then my sister is on June 1st. So yeah, we are right there. Are there any more international breaks? Abby is asking. So let's see. International breaks. I think there is one more international. Hang on. I think there was one more gap. MLS International Break 2025. So let's see. Most important dates and key info according to Major League Soccer, their own selves. So key dates. The Club World Cup and Gold Cup pause ends today, actually. Let's see. Rivalry week. MLS All-Star Game, July 22nd, 23rd. Leagues Cup, July 29 to August 31st. Decision Day, playoff schedule format. That doesn't help me. International break, impact, standing shift, March international window, ASUSA. Why doesn't this is a copy of the article? Why doesn't MLS stop during the FIFA international breaks? I thought there was one more. I thought there was. But I think I may be wrong. But I thought there was one more break. Let's see. And Tom has a question, and I don't know if this is the case. Tom is asking: is there an MLS fan anywhere besides Messi fanboys and Miami folks that doesn't hate Miami? Shame on them if they don't. Shame on them if they don't. I see Tom wagging a finger. I mean, hate. I mean, the purple team doesn't like them. I mean, I would imagine. I have no empirical evidence in this, but I would imagine that looking at the rest of the league, I don't think any short of fans of the Herons. I don't know if anybody else and folks that like individual players on that roster. I don't know if anybody else outside of South Florida likes Messi and friends. I mean, that's just how it goes. You're a fan of your club. You're a fan of those players, but I don't know if they're. And you might in your area. I think you're probably a fan of those players, but you probably are a fan of your club. If that makes any sense. I think I said that right. Abby looking at the schedule for the rest of us, figuring the breaks that look on the schedule must be either August 3rd, but not Leagues Cup, then the only other time September 6th and 7, October 11, 12, or a midweek match. Derek. No one else was shocked. Morning, Derek. Let's see. No, my mom was a senior archivist for the state of Georgia. She got her degree in library science. She got her master's degree in library science from Emory. And she was a senior archivist for the state of Georgia. She worked in the archives building, the one that used to be on Capitol Avenue, and then they moved it to Forest Park. She was a senior archivist. She's big into family trees and all that kind of stuff, much like my aunt. And there was, and Tom, you may be right about another one in September. My mom and my aunt conspired to try and create our whole family tree. And at one family reunion in Montana, where literally you had folks coming from Canada, you had folks coming from Norway, you had folks coming from the US, and everybody went north. We all went to Kalispell, Montana, and Great Falls National Park. My aunt constructed our family tree, and it went all the way back to King Sigurd of Norway, and King Sigurd the First of Norway. And so, and literally, the pieces of paper that she took went from like down one wall and down a second wall in this convention hall that we had at the family reunion. Literally, it goes down one end, down a second end, and stopped. And she had it all the way back to King Sigurd of Norway. No, I'm not royalty. It was because of the reason that we were linked to King Sigurd the First of Norway was because of the people that he hung out with. He wasn't married to him. He was hanging out with him. If you know what I mean, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How'd you do? How'd you do? So that's what you were looking at when it came to our family tree, down one wall, down a second wall, and literally linked to King Sigurd of Norway. Yeah, and so like my aunt went back to like the 13th century or something like that in Norway itself. I mean, literally like all the way back as far as she could go. And she goes all the way back to King Sigurd of Norway, but not royalty. I am not royalty in Norway. Might be a rock star in Norway, but I'm not royalty in Norway. But yeah, because of who King Sigurd of Norway hung out with, not who he was married to. So that's how far back we go as a family. So anyway, that's the Norway side. So I'm half Scandinavian, half Scottish. The other half, the Scottish half, was linked to, we go back to, my mom figured it out, to the Godwin family of Massachusetts that fought in the Revolutionary War. So my mom got us back into the 18th century and helped my aunt get us back to King Sigurd of Norway the First in like the 13th or 14th century or whatever the heck it was. So whenever King Sigurd of Norway was ruling Norway, or what was land that would eventually become Norway. So yes, all the way back to King Sigurd of Norway on one side and fighters of the Revolutionary War and the Godwin family of Massachusetts in the 18th century on the other side. So that's what my mom. Thank you, Tom. Yes, King of the Twitch pitch. Absolutely. Thank you very much. And I know you're just saying that because it's my birthday and you're being nice. So literally, that's where the family trees link. It's like 17th, so 18th century U.S. history on one side, and then King Sigurd of Norway on the other side. So those are the pieces of paper that wrapped around this convention hall in Kalispell, Montana, probably 2 decades ago. So that's where we are. All right. So that's your that is your genealogy lesson on my birthday today. So yes, turning 702 today. And the plan, like I said, the plan is for us here is to be here today, Wednesday, Thursday. And once again, I apologize for the lag that is attached to the feed. Like I said, I'm not in the studio where everything is like bing, 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 and it goes like, 3 terabytes a second or whatever. But no, so I beg your forbearance over the next couple of days in piecing things together when it comes to guests and responses and signal and all that kind of stuff, because I will admit this just a second ago. I have a big 55 over here off camera, And I literally looked at the Big 55, and the Big 55 was giving an error message. And I was like, uh-oh. And I legitimately thought that it was going to just completely and totally just flush itself down the toilet, and that this feed was just going to be like, but apparently it just has to do with the cable system and the feed in and of itself. So that's where we are. Okay, so hang on. Let me get hydrated here for a second. We'll get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all those kinds of things. And like I said, we are anticipating / hoping that a guest will be able to join us out of a production meeting and talk about the Gold Cup, because we did talk about Gold Cup juice boxes and everything, and hopefully we will have a bit of a backgrounder on the Canadian men's national team. So we're kind of in a holding pattern here in the final half hour of the show, laying it all out for you as to what we're staring at. So, all right, let's get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and get into alleged, possible, probable transfers and transfer news and all of the things. Okay, so here we go with what we know and what we think we know. Arsenal have expressed an interest in PSG's Bradley Barcola. We mentioned him as being a part of the roster with Club World Cup. Yes, Abby, the twos match is at the Erector set. Yes. It's 7 o'clock start on Sunday night, I believe, and it might be more of a watch-along format. We'll keep you posted. Barcola is also wanted by Bayern Munich and Liverpool. Spurs are going to target Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace after losing ground in the race to sign Brian Mbeumo following Manchester United's improved offer worth more than £60 million for the 25-year-old. That's from our buddy Ben Jacobs over at TalkSport. Liverpool's defender Ibrahima Konate, out of contract next summer, has rejected the club's latest offer of a new deal. We talked about that yesterday. Newcastle are in talks with Burnley over a deal for James Trafford. Dortmund winger Jamie Gittins remains a target for Bayern Munich, despite the 20-year-old having a verbal agreement with Chelsea. Juve prepared to offer Dusan Vlahovic and Douglas Luiz as a make-weight with Manchester United for Jadon Sancho. Barca close to signing FC Copenhagen 19-year-old Swedish winger Rooney Bargi in a deal worth about £2 million, according to our friends at Sky. Monaco are yet to agree to a deal with Paul Pogba, despite reports elsewhere saying they have. That's from our friends at Sky. It's supposed to be, the numbers that were put out last week were saying it's a 2-year deal. So we'll see. So 2-year deal, unofficially, probably, possibly, not official yet. Milos Kerkesh set to complete his medical today before joining Liverpool from Bournemouth. Real Madrid will demand in excess of £77 million for Rodrigo, who has been linked with a move to the Premier League from our friends at Cadena Ser. Forest have agreed on a deal worth about £19 million with Juve for Timothy Weah and Samuel Bangula. That comes from our friends at the Four Letter. So you have Nottingham Forest, who might be turning themselves into a pseudo-Chelsea. So we'll keep an eye on that. Lower divisions, Middlesbrough interested in signing Kane Kessler-Hayden from Villa, facing competition from Southampton and Coventry City. Hull City and Colombia midfielder Steven Alzate could be set for an exit from the Tigers, amid interest from Valencia and Sheffield. John Textor, remember that name. This is also from the other four-letter paper. The one, the shiny one that we look up on the sky and see moon and constellations and such. John Textor, who has just sold his 43% stake in Crystal Palace for a reported £190 million, is considering buying Sheffield Wednesday. And we've gotten into the discussion on weeks past about Sheffield Wednesday and how they're having problems paying their bills. So John Textor might take a step down and invest in Sheffield Wednesday after having gotten £190 million, allegedly. That's the number from Woody Johnson, the Chelsea fan who is now part owner in Crystal Palace. George Honeyman from Millwall, close to completing a move to Blackpool. Bristol City's former Bristol City forward Nakai Wells has ruled out a return to Bradford City after he announced he was departing the Robins on Monday. Kwame Poku attracting interest from Rangers, but newly promoted Sunderland also keeping an eye. Port Vale set to make Cambridge United's Marco Morosi their 5th signing of the summer window. Walsall leading the race to sign Stevenage forward Aaron Presley after the Villa grad given the green light to leave Borough, and Alfie Kilgore is close to returning to Bristol Rovers following his release from the League One side. So that is gossip, rumor, and innuendo from our friends at the BBC. Yeah. All right, so let's check in on our friend Ben Jacobs and see what Ben has been pouring over this morning. And hopefully we can, I don't know, dial things up on the Twitters. See, now this is one of the issues that I have here with the interwebs in this building, is that as much as I would like to sit there and chase after things, I can't necessarily chase after things to the extent that I would like, just because of the sheer power that's, so cannot retrieve posts. Cannot retrieve posts on the Twitters here in the building. So you got that. All right, so news from Ben Jacobs this morning. Once again, Manchester United now improved the offer to Mbeumo to over 60. Talks accelerated over the last couple of days, continuing this week. Fenerbahce and Napoli both exploring a move for Jadon Sancho. Manchester United want £25 million. Fenerbahce have also inquired on Leeds keeper Elon Meslier. Leeds have yet to receive any offer. It's official. Keith Andrews has now agreed to a deal to become the new Brentford manager, according to which is going to become Thomas Frank's permanent replacement. Chelsea preparing a third bid for Jamie Gittins. Optimism and deal talks taking place here in America. Gittins can't play in the Club World Cup, waiting for permission to undergo a medical, having agreed on a 7-year deal. Andrew Amobamidele has joined Strasbourg on loan from Forest after his option but to buy was triggered, signed a 4-year deal. Let's see. And so Esteval swapped shirts with Messi at halftime of the Club World Cup. So that's interesting. In the tunnel, swapping shirts. He also Ben also understands that yesterday, America, Spain, Brazil, and Morocco have all expressed an interest in hosting the 29 World Cup. No imminent decision on the next host is expected from FIFA, and I would anticipate legitimately that they're not going to have any kind of quick response in any of this, that it would be, hey, in a deal. No, I'm not anticipating any kind of deal or the other. Westerlo trying again to extend the contract of Griffin Yao, according to Tom Bogert. He is still expecting Yao to leave this summer. Westerlo seeing if they can convince him to stay. The current deal expires next summer. And Tom Hindle has a really cool story about the fans for Auckland City that are spending more than $10,000 to come and hang out here in the United States about the whole thing. Watford nearing a loan deal for Caleb Wiley. Once again, keep an eye on that. See when Wiley impressed at club on loan second half of the season. So keep an eye on Caleb Wiley. Cincinnati finalizing a deal to sign Ender Echenike from Caracas FC. Cesar Luis Merlo was the first to report that. $550,000 fee. Echenike would join via the U22. He can play forward or wing back for FCC. 7+5 in just under 1,600 minutes this year for Caracas FC. And let's see, what else am I missing here? Colorado Rapids a couple weeks ago were finalizing a deal to sign an Israeli international center back from Shakhtar Donetsk, Stav Lemkin. $1.6 million fee had been agreed to on the defender. FC Twente came in late yesterday, finalizing a deal to sign him instead. Deal was agreed with Colorado. Player was initially headed this way, changed his mind when FC Twente came in, so we'll keep an eye on that. The transfer notebook. Keeping an eye on the transfer notebook. Apparently, the market for Patrick Adjimang is heating up. It looks like Charlotte had previously rejected a $4 million bid from Luton this winter, wanting to keep Adjimang until at least the summer. Now, several clubs are adding to that. It looks like Genk, clubs from the Championship, are enjoying discussions with Adjimang, who's got 8+2 so far right now with Charlotte. The club has an open DP spot. I'm watching this summer. Charlotte 25 points after 18 matches. And once again, we talked about the adding of Echenike and Stavlemkin being lost out on when it comes to all of the activity with transfers. Once again, you're about a month away from the MLS transfer market and keeping an eye on that. Obviously, with what we were discussing earlier on with injuries and for Atlanta United, you got to keep an eye on that for the next month and find out, okay, what's going to be chasing after whom? Is anybody going to be chasing after whom? Who's going to be buyers or sellers, when it comes to the market? All right, so we had mentioned the Jamie Gittins deal. Talk Sport is now saying it looks like that the bid might be north of 45 million pounds because the initial numbers that Chelsea had given on Gittins were 30 and 42. 30 million pounds, 42 million pounds. And so Dortmund was like, no and no. Chelsea then goes to 45 million, and so now it gives them something to think about. So they'll perhaps, possibly, probably think about something there when it comes to those numbers. So we'll find out what the latest is involving those transfers as we go. Now, Gold Cup. Getting into Gold Cup tonight, we had mentioned how things are. I'm trying to move things away so they're not staticky and so you don't hear them through the headset. We mentioned the matchups tonight in the Gold Cup and where things stand involving the Gold Cup in the group. So let's go over the group standings just to kind of give you the idea as to where things are laid out. With the four matches tonight, you've got the early kicks and the late kicks. And remember, just like every other competition that we know, they're all simultaneous. And so kicks and late kicks moving forward. It'd be nice if things would load. Isn't that beautiful? It's like I'm literally sitting here and I'm looking at multiple things, wishing they would load. And I'm staring at phones and I'm staring at tablets, and ain't nothing loading. I've got signals. I have got absolute signals here in the room. Coming into the room, I have signals. Signal strength doesn't seem to be an issue, but logging on and logging off and all these kinds of things, it's creating problems. But anyway, when was De Bruyne to Napoli done? I want to say it was was it a week and a half ago? Tom's wondering. De Bruyne to Napoli, when was it done? Somehow he completely missed it. Athletic just dropped an article. I want to say it was like a week and a half ago. I know that you kind of figured that something was tight when he's I'm guessing the airport concourse to a van, and he is being completely and totally overwhelmed with fans. It's like, oh, that's Kevin De Bruyne, and everybody's sitting there going, they're running after him, and that was a couple weeks previous to the signing. I can't remember if we've had the official, where he's kind of, you always end up with the signature and you're kind of perched over the contract and you sit there and you look at the camera and you have that photo where it's like, man, that particular photo that we're always used to, the smile into the camera and the look just before you're about to sign it, or that you have just signed it, or, hey, make it look like you're signing the contract and we'll take the picture. And you sit there and it's like, okay, so the pen's got to be here, contract is there, and then you turn up and you look and you smile and it's just like this. One of those. That particular that particular lowdown. I think it was a week and a half ago. But yeah, it all started with the rush from the airport concourse into the van, and you end up with that particular moment in time that got captured on social media. I can't remember though if we've had the smiling photo of him hovering over the contract, but I think that it's been. And now they're trying to figure out if they can add folks. Maybe I think Jack Grealish was announced as an idea going to Napoli, but they don't believe that they can handle the wage of Jack Grealish as a part of this entire discussion. So it's in the nice thought category. Can we bring in Grealish to be there with De Bruyne? Don't know. Don't know if we can afford them both. And so it looks like it's just going to be De Bruyne and Napoli and not Grealish joining De Bruyne at Napoli. So that's kind of where the Manchester City egress to Napoli is. And so we'll find out if that is, in fact, just going to be a part of the discussion or if it was just a nice thought, basically. So was it a nice thought? Was it not a nice thought? So we'll see if that does end up coming to pass, or is it going to be creative financing in trying to bring in Grealish to help out and have De Bruyne have a familiar target at Napoli. So I think that might be the whole thing. But I think it was like a week and a half ago, Tom, was when it was like officially official in all these kinds of things. So we'll find out what it looks like there with all of it. Let me get into the Gold Cup standings. We mentioned the juice boxes and what the standings are coming into tonight. So let's get into the standings with Mexico finishing atop Group A with 1 goal different better. 1 goal and goal difference higher than Costa Rica, both with 7 points. Dominican Republic and Suriname, both with 1 point, and they're out. Group B, once again, this gets settled tonight. It's 4-3, 2-1. With Canada with a win and a draw. Then Honduras right now, a win and a loss at 3 points. Superior goal difference for Canada. Right now, Canada 4 points and a +6 in goal difference. Honduras is a win and a loss at -4 in goal difference with 3 points. Then Curacao with the 2 draws has 2 points. El Salvador has the 1 draw and the 1 point in Group B. Group C, once again, that's also going to be decided tonight. Panama is at 6 points. They've won their first 2 matches. Jamaica is at a win and a loss, as is Guatemala. They each also have the even goal difference. So tonight it could get interesting with Jamaica and Guatemala trying to figure out, okay, who's going to be the second team coming out of Group C. Guadeloupe, by the way, 2 losses, and they would need like a win and a big win and some help where opposition is concerned when it comes to all of those numbers tonight. Group D, once again, with the U.S. and Saudi Arabia making their way through. The U.S. ran the table. They got their 3 wins. Saudi Arabia 1-1-1, 4 points. And Trinidad and Tobago out with 2 points and a -5 goal difference. Haiti, 1 point and a -2 goal difference. Once again, looking at juice boxes once again tonight, it is Guadeloupe and Guatemala. So Guadeloupe and Guatemala, once again, it is Team 3 and Team 4 in Group C. Team 1 and Team 2 in Group C. So Guadeloupe, Guatemala, big favorite. Guatemala is a -110. Guadeloupe is a +280. Jamaica is a +229 tonight. Panama favored at a +121. So Panama, once again, 6 points, favored against Jamaica. And Guatemala is favored against Guadeloupe. So you could end up with Guatemala, if things go well for them, the anticipated result. So Guatemala would finish, say, with 6 if they beat Guadeloupe tonight. Then if Jamaica would have to match, because once again, same goal difference, 0. And so same number of points coming in. So 1 and 2 play, 3 and 4 play in Group C, setting up what is going to determine the order with the 3 teams, Panama, Jamaica, Guatemala. You anticipate if Panama is favored at a +121, if they advance, they get to 9 points. Then Jamaica getting the loss would be at 3 points. And then Guatemala, if they were to win, then they would be the second team coming out of Group C going in, and Jamaica would go home. Then the other matchup, once again, Group B, Canada, Honduras, Curacao, and El Salvador. And we did get word from CONCACAF, by the way, that Jesse Marsh in the news category, Jesse Marsh, it has been determined / decided that there's been there's not going to be any further action, no further anything involving Jesse Marsh and the disciplinary committee decision, the CSA, and with Jesse Marsh. It was quoting CONCACAF their own selves. Following the opening of a disciplinary case and a thorough review of documentation and evidence collected during the investigation, and in accordance with the competition regulations and the CONCACAF disciplinary code, The CONCACAF Disciplinary Committee has issued a decision for the reported incidents that occurred during the Gold Cup match between Canada and Honduras back on the 17th. Disciplinary Committee has fined the CSA, the Canadian Soccer Association, an undisclosed amount for breaching security protocols for accredited delegation officials and for failing to comply with anti-doping procedures by not providing the required representative for the halftime doping control draw. Additionally, the disciplinary committee found no clear evidence that Jesse Marsch disregarded the competition's rules regarding suspended match officials. Therefore, he has been cleared of any wrongdoing. CONCACAF recognizes the CSA's constructive engagement in the disciplinary committee's investigation and reaffirms its commitment to delivering a world-class tournament for all stakeholders involved. So basically, going back to the words that our friend Christian Jack had been reporting, by the way, Canada favored tonight in the late game at a minus 455, El Salvador at a plus 1119. 90-minute draws a plus 509. Honduras is favored tonight at a plus 135, and Curacao is a plus 223. Draw is a plus 204. Keep an eye on the draw at a plus 204 tonight with Curacao just to get them to 3 points. But once again, Canada, El Salvador, 1 playing 4. Honduras, Curacao, 2 playing 3. So Canada, 1 win, 1 draw, 4 points. So Canada, big favorite tonight against El Salvador. El Salvador has only 1 point in their first 2 matches. So Canada, if they win 7 points, they're the number 1 out of Group B. Honduras and Curacao is probably going to be the matchup to pay attention to out of Group B tonight for the late games. Honduras at a plus 135, and Curacao needs a win, because if they were to, because a draw does them no good. Win gets them in as the 2. Canada's win gets them to 7 points. Honduras, there is a with 3 points. Honduras, they can kind of have a kickabout. They'll be okay. They would be the 2 seed coming out of Group B. Then Canada, once again, playing El Salvador, you anticipate Canada getting a result. But the biggest news yesterday was the CONCACAF the disco decision involving Jesse Marsch and Canada Soccer Association. So the initial reports were that Jesse Marsch in the building was told by CONCACAF he could be where he was. Literally, hey, you can be here. And so then you saw on Big FOX where, hey, there's Jesse Marsch, font lower third. And it's, and he's keeping an eye on things, and he did not have a walkie-talkie or anything like that. And so then the eyebrows were raised when Christian put in his reporting that he might have been told, or that he was told, okay, CONCACAF said you can be here. Then at halftime, it was like, well, no, we messed up. You can't be here. And so then it was alleged that there was some colorful metaphors that were exchanged between the Canada contingent and CONCACAF. And so that was where the investigation went. And it was like, well, okay, is this in fact the case? And so Jesse Marsch, when asked about it in the MD-1, was like, okay, no, there's an investigation, really can't comment. Basically, I want to let the process work itself out, and I'm not going to comment on it. And so the process worked itself out. Disco fined the CSA. And so my guess is in interpreting this release from CONCACAF yesterday. So between Canada and Honduras back on the 17th, a week ago, Disco fined the CSA an undisclosed amount for breaching security protocols for accredited delegation officials. So my guess is at the end of the day, it was, you weren't where you were supposed to be. And then the issue with the anti-doping procedures, not providing the required representative for the halftime doping control draw, that is something new. That had not been discussed in any element of this investigation at all, where the CSA didn't present the appropriate individuals for The halftime doping control draw. Literally, I did not know that that was a thing. I legitimately did not know that that was a thing. So that's going to be that's going to be part of this discussion. So, David, good punishment. They fined a broke blanking federation. Biggest punishment you can give them outside of forcing closed door games. So, literally, yeah, you fined Canada, and so and I'm still stuck on the idea of my guess. My guess is this. So, with the CSA, literally, CONCACAF said, "Okay, you can be here." And at halftime, they come up to him and say, "Well, no, you can't be here." Okay, then there you go. That should have been the end of that discussion. But the element of the not providing a required representative for the halftime doping control draw, that's completely new. Disco found no evidence Jesse Marsh disregarded competition's rules regarding suspended match officials. And my guess is there in paragraph 3, CONCACAF is saying that Canada Soccer did what they were told to do. That's kind of the backward way of sitting there saying, we told them they could be here and they were there and they didn't dispute it or didn't do anything wrong. That is my extrapolation of the reporting that came out at first, then going to where we are with the reporting there, the release from CONCACAF. So that third paragraph to me means CONCACAF said it was cool for them to be there, and it wasn't something that, like Herrera with the walkie-talkie up in the stands after he got the red card. It wasn't like that. They were like, okay, Jesse can be here. Jesse can be here. We all agree on that. That wasn't, even if CONCACAF was basically like, yes, no, maybe. CONCACAF kind of laid it out there, and they were like, yeah, okay, we said he could be there. That's what I think that third paragraph is. We said he could be there, or they heard they could be there, and we're just going to sit there and say, yes, that was the case. So we're not gonna lay out anything on Canada Soccer for that. And so CONCACAF in paragraph 4, basically it's like we thank them for their interest in the sport. Basically you tip your hat to them and you move on. So paragraph 1 said that they opened the investigation. Paragraph 2, we're fining you. And so you're fining for breaching security protocols for accredited delegation officials. So this seems like it might be one of those where you weren't where you were supposed to be, but then the coach wasn't going rogue and was just going by what he was told. If you combine paragraph 2 and paragraph 3, I'm guessing that, yeah, you went someplace. By the end of the day, you weren't supposed to be there, but you didn't do it, you didn't do it on your own. So you were seen on camera someplace where you might not have supposed to have been. So we're going to fine you for that. Don't take it personal. We also don't know the level of the fine. I mean, literally, it could be like $1. So my guess is, looking at paragraph 2 and paragraph 3, combining those two in the release, that's what you're looking at. That's my guess. You were seen being someplace you might not necessarily have supposed to have been. You didn't have a walkie-talkie like Miguel Herrera. So we're fining you, but we're not blaming you. Does that make sense? I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of extrapolating what it sounds like is going down. That's my guess. Abby, thank you once again. For those of you that might have missed it in hour number 1, hang on just a second. The boss got a blue ribbon for me because, yes, today is the birthday. And it's got a pin on the back. So I don't know if I'm going to have something thick to wear. the sash that she got, and apparently, and I'd like to thank all of you who were letting me know that I'm supposed to stick one arm through this to make sure that that it fits, because I just roped it around me and I was just like, okay, how does this work? I literally did that, and I had no earthly idea that I was supposed to stick my arms through it. So anyway, so the sash from the boss, and also got the Elton John outfit with both the glasses and the crown. So the crown, once again, the crown doesn't fit with the headset. Sorry, hang on. So there we go. The crown, because there's like a rope back here. So there's a tie. So there's the crown. So there's the crown right there, and then the glasses, the Elton John glasses that she got, that have the whole happy birthday bit. So yes, I'm not going to wear these on the golf course today, although they might help me on the golf course today just because of the sun. It's supposed to be like incredibly hot today, at like 9 gazillion degrees. So and matching humidity, but that is what the boss has done for me today. And had to show it. So you'll probably see the ensemble on the Facebooks. So you'll see how it looked when it was presented before the show this morning. And thank you, Dell. Dell, lovely. Where Dell says, I look about 47. I'm older than that. I'm 702, as I said earlier. So yeah, got the haircut and the whole thing. But yeah, so 702. And that's where we are. So it is the glasses, it is the crown, it is the sash, and it is the blue ribbon. So that's where we are with all that stuff. Okay, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. We'll go to our friends at Soccer America, and we'll let you know what we see here with everything. All right, so today, and if you missed it, and if you have a subscription to Soccer America, go and catch the interview that they did with our buddy Kevin Egan about what it's like to host MLS 360 and be the ringmaster for all of that chaos. FS1, and it's FS1 and FS2, by the way, for the simulcasts. FS1 has Panama, Jamaica. FS2 has Guadeloupe, Guatemala. 10 o'clock, Canada and El Salvador is on FS1. FS2 has Honduras and Curacao. TNT has one of the 3 o'clock matchups of Benfica and Bayern. Benfica and Bayern simulcast on 2 and they also have the Gold Cup split on 2 and Unimas. Unimas is simulcasting Benfica and Bayern at 3, but you have 2 and Unimas. Panama, Jamaica on 2 Guadeloupe, Guatemala on Unimas, Canada, El Salvador on 2 Honduras and Curacao on Unimas. And so Univision is simulcasting 2 action. Panama, Jamaica, Canada, El Salvador. DAZN USA has, and when you can sign up for a free account at DAZN, and you can get DAZN USA, and because they're showing all of the Club World Cup games for free, but you got to sign up for it. Auckland City, Boca Juniors, 3 o'clock. Benfica, Bayern at 3 o'clock. LAFC, Flamengo is at 9 o'clock. Esperance de Tunisie and Chelsea, that is at 9 o'clock. And so that's where we get to determine what's going to happen with C and D when it comes to Club World Cup and all points in between. So once again, just to go through all the craziness that happened yesterday, just to lay it all out for you. When it comes to the FIFA Club World Cup, who's got what, where, when, and what it's going to look like as it loads and thinks about it and loads and does whatever. So the tablet's going to go over there. So we'll lay out. We'll see who gets there first. If it's going to be the laptop or if it's going to be the tablet. We'll see who gets there first. So once again, today, it is Group C, Group D, and we know the chaos that's attached to what happened late last night in Group A. Auckland City, Boca Juniors, 3 o'clock in Group C. Benfica, Bayern. And so the biggest question is, Ricky posed this earlier, can Boca Juniors make up the goal difference with Benfica if math needs to come into play? And I think that we had it figured out that it was going to have to be somewhere in the neighborhood from 7 to 9 goals that would have to be made up by Boca Juniors to try and pass Benfica. LAFC is out. Flamengo is your lead. Esperance de Tunisie and Chelsea determines who's going to be the number 2 coming out of Group D. And so right now, as it's laid out, number 1 out of Group C plays number 2 out of Group D. That one's on the 28th, and that's your late game at 4 o'clock. Sunday, PSG, Messi and friends, noon, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 4 o'clock, Flamengo plays the number 2 team out of Group C. And so that's where we are with the rundown of all of those folks as we continue to go through the Club World Cup and lay it all out for you there today. So tomorrow, once again, it is going to be really cool stuff. Chris Doran, a radio play-by-play voice for Columbus Crew, he's going to join us coming up at 9:15. We might have Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes joining us from Portugal, depending on if his phone works and where he is and if the boss allows him to do those kinds of things. Yes, thank you, Del. I am in Alabama. I am in Alabama at a golf and resort kind of place. And the boss and I are going to take the Rowdy Man, and we're going to go in town for dinner tonight. And I'm going to play golf this afternoon and see if I can get as much golf in as I can before it's time to come in, rinse off, turn around, and get it all squared away. But thank you, OG, for the birthday wishes. And yes, I'm planning on hydrating on the course. Yes, Del, Benfica, Bayern, solid Gold Cup stuff. And are we rooting against Canada? We'll see what happens with the rooting against Canada part of things. But that is your rundown of everything today. Back at it again tomorrow once again. It is Chris Dorn from Columbus Crew Radio. He's going to join us at 9:15. We'll see if our buddy Dylan Butler can join us. It's not quite L.A. It might be M.A., Middle Alabama. Not quite back to where the boss's home is, but it is a place that means a lot to her. So Chris Dorn, 9:15 tomorrow. See if our buddy Dylan Butler can join us at 10:30. Our friends from Footy Prime, north of the border, are going to break down everything that we saw tonight in the Gold Cup involving Canada. So we'll have that tomorrow. So Footy Prime at 10:30. Hopefully Dylan Butler at 10 o'clock. Chris Dorn from Columbus Crew Radio joining us at 9:15. And that is the rundown for tomorrow. Enjoy the day. Stay hydrated. Do your thing. And we will be back at it again at the same time tomorrow. See you in a little less than 22 hours. Mucha platial, play it safe. I will stay hydrated. You stay hydrated. We got Club World Cup to talk about, Gold Cup to talk about, Major League Soccer to talk about tomorrow because it's a double match week for some folks. Not Atlanta United, Messi and friends for various reasons. And we'll get into all of that tomorrow. We'll start the process of getting you into the rest of the match week involving Club World Cup, Gold Cup, and Major League Soccer. So for everybody here at SDH, thanks for hanging out as you always do. Thank you, Del. And we'll be back at it again tomorrow. And hopefully we'll be still properly hydrated and awake and aware as we always are. So Mucha platiel, play it safe. And since it is the end of the show, that means I get to do this. Back at it again, 9:05 Eastern time tomorrow morning. Man, that 6:30 alarm went off really loudly this morning here in the Central Time Zone. Play it safe, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.